Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Sahara Omar. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist practicing here in the state of Texas. And today's video, I wanted to share with you guys a little bit more on what is personality, a personality test that tells you a little bit about who you are at the core, and what I see in the clinical practice when we are working with people who have specifically personality disorder, okay? All right, so when you guys think of personality first, and I want to distinguish the difference between personality and character. Personality is how does a person think, feel, and act in different types of situation across the board in general. It's who you are at the core when you are interacting with life in general, okay? Where character, whenever you think of the word character, I want you to think about morals and values and integrity. So in the court system, for example, they have something called character witness, somebody that can speak on your behalf of your character. Like, are you are you the type of person who does the right thing, even when people are not watching? Are you advocating for what is right or wrong in a correct ways? So that's what your character is, right? Like lying, stealing, cheating. That goes back to your character, where personality is just how you interact with life in general, okay? So with personality test, there is one test that we highly rely on as clinicians in the practicing spaces, in the clinical space specifically. It's called the OCEAN test, and each letter in the word OCEAN stands for a specific acronym. There are other tests out there like the Enneagram. Some of my clients will tell me I am a 4 in my Enneagram, for example. I personally am not a fan of the Enneagram. It contains a lot of information. It's really hard to sort ourselves in those multiple categories in that way as well too. Now with OCEAN, so the O stands for openness. So how much are you open to new experiences in general and just people's ideas and thoughts? So when you think of the word open there, we think mostly about how creative are you with exploring new avenues, new experiences in life. Are you curious as well too? Do you want to hear what other people think and feel, or is it just about you and what you think and feel? Also imagination as well too. How broad is your experience with imagination in general? Can you think outside of the box? And how far do you allow yourself to go outside of that box as well? And just in general, are you willing to try new things? Some people are very stubborn. They're like, nope, I'm not open to any new activities, right? So, and typically when you guys I want to take a step back. When you take a test, I'll put in the link a free test that you guys can explore. It will give you a spectrum answer from 0 to 100. The higher you are on the spectrum or the scale, typically you are willing to be more open and explore new things. The lower you are scoring, the harder it is for you to try new ideas and be curious as well, okay? So that's how you read the test itself. Now coming back to the OCEAN acronym, C stands for conscientiousness. Conscientiousness means how cautious are you when you're interacting with life in general. People who are highly conscientious, typically they're very well organized, they're very disciplined, they're very reliable. They also set they're goal oriented in their brain as well too. So they set a goal, they break it down into small tasks, and then they follow through as well. If you're on a lower end of the conscientiousness, typically you're a little bit more all over the place and disorganized, and you struggle with discipline and following through in general. The E stands for extroversion. Like, are you extroverted or are you more introverted? So if you're extroverted, you're typically going to be drawing a lot of your energy from social activities. So you're very sociable, you talk to people, you have no fear there, very assertive as well too, like you know what you like at the core, and you just enjoy social interactions overall. Where the opposite end, introverted people, typically they'll tell you, I like to be at home, I like to be under my warm blanket, read books. They kind of keep it to themselves a little bit more, cooking, all of that, just being on their own. They don't draw that energy from just being around people all the time and being outside like that. A stands for agreeableness. How agreeable are you when you're working with other people? In general, with agreeableness, some of the traits are you kind? Are you empathic? Do you care about other people? Do you show up for them in a gentle, supportive way? Do you work well with other people as well too? How well are you willing to cooperate? Are you able to find that middle ground and compromise? Also, do you trust people? People who are highly agreeable, they operate on a lot of trust and willingness to support others and show up in their lives. People who are on the other end of the spectrum, they typically don't trust themselves, and I would say even go further and say they don't trust the world around them as well. So it's their way or the highway, if you want to think about it that way. Neuroticism, that's what the N stands for. Neurotically, if you are highly neurotic people, and I'm sure everybody met somebody who's highly neurotic, typically they are emotionally very sensitive, they're very anxious, on edge, worried all the time. The mood swings are all over the place. Some days they feel good, some days they feel really bad, some days they're very angry. And when stress shows up, they're very reactive. It's like the brain says it's the end of the world. Nothing well is going to happen here. Now, when we are talking about personality disorder, and that's what the hardest piece that I see in the clinical practice. But I do want to add one more piece before I go there. A lot of people choose people in connections and relationships in general who are highly neurotic, because I want to emphasize on that word. Because neurotic people can sometimes feel exciting, sometimes can feel like, oh my God, this person has something interesting about them, right? So you do want to be careful of not being attracted to highly neurotic people who are not controlling that neuroticism at the core, okay? Now, in the clinical practice, right, so we'll have something called personality disorder. And I made a video early on in the channel on cluster P personality disorders and the different types that go under there. So if you're interested, look into that. But in general, when we are diagnosing personality disorder, a couple of things that we look out for. First, we don't diagnose people under age 25, only over age 25. I, as myself, as a clinician, I give grace about 5 more years, plus or minus 5 more years if you experience trauma. Because trauma can offset some of those personality traits that we have as well too. And until we recover from it, the person is not going to be balanced, right? So we don't want to mix the two together really fast and say this person has personality disorder, when in reality they just are struggling with unresolved trauma at the core, okay? The other piece to consider also is in the cluster B category. So when you look back on the video, I want to be a little bit more specific. With cluster B, there is one common trait that they have at the core. They score low on agreeableness and high in neuroticism. So when you're dealing with somebody who's like narcissistic at the core, or have antisocial behavior traits, or like where they just break the law all the time, they do not work well with other people. They don't operate from empathy and kind place, and they're very highly neurotic. Their mood shifts really fast. They're very reactive in that way. So if you are yourself, or you're dealing with somebody in your family or life in general who is diagnosed with, like, for example, borderline personality, what we're talking about is how well are they agreeing, how well are they neurotic at the core, and also conscientiousness too. So sometimes they score low on the conscientiousness trait there as well too, where they're not organized and they don't think critically as well before they make decisions. The goal is to not go around and over-identify with some of these traits as well too. So just being aware of who you are, and it helps you understand yourself and do better. Our personality is formed between ages 0 to 5. So around 5, we know who we are, what we like, and the people around us, and we're very considerate. And then from 5 to 25, these traits get solidified. So now that becomes about 20 years of who you are. People, the older they are, the harder it is for them to change some of these traits as well too. Change is always available. It's just your level of willingness to challenge yourself and your brain. So typically that's why we don't diagnose before age 25. We can see some of those traits and we can hold on to them and identify them and challenge people to become aware of those traits that they have. But we do not give them that label, because I have a lot of clients that will come in and automatically will ask me, do I have borderline? Am I borderline, for example? Or they'll say things like, my ex called me narcissist. Am I a narcissist? And I usually tell them that is not something that we need to focus on right now, because I don't know who you are, and the pattern that you're exhibiting is not clear to me yet personally. and therefore I don't feel comfortable labeling you right away, right? So I challenge people to wait for a while, and work together and see if we're hitting consistent patterns of like, wow, like I'm always on edge. When stress shows up, I'm spiraling all the time. I lie, for example, or I don't care about people and I'm not organized and I'm not open. Then I will say, okay, maybe we should explore some kind of identifying if you are struggling with a personality flaw here. Okay. With the test, I'll put a link on the description box. Just explore. It helps you understand yourself. And also, be careful. Try not to over-identify right away. And just be open enough when you go into therapy and you're working with a therapist to continue to hold the space to recognize, am I dealing with traumatic events that I'm not healed from? Or is this who I am at the core? And when you're dating and exploring and just forming relationships, make sure that you're not attracted to some of these dysfunctional traits that we see in people and then call it, oh, he has an amazing personality. But that is the same thing that's causing you harm at times, right? So be cognizant of those choices that we're making. Alrighty. I hope the video helped you guys. Feel free to hit that thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment if you have any other questions or any other topics you guys want to explore. And when you take the quiz and the test itself, let me know what your thoughts on it. This is the one that we highly rely on. Like I said, there's other ones. They're just not consistently backed in the literature. Alrighty, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.